Stop right now. Can you believe this? One of these props tonight is sitting 7.5 points below the player's scoring center. Not 1 point, not 2 points, 7.5. That means the player would need to drastically underperform his typical production just for the under to cash. The slate isn't about star power tonight. It is not. It's about where the market priced the number versus where the data says the player normally lives. There's 3 props, 3 different types of edges. Let's start with the strongest structural play. Cody White. Over 12.5 points. Start with this line, okay? Kobe White's season median scoring output is 20 points. Tonight's line is 12.5. That places the betting line 7.5 points below his statistical center. In other words, the market is pricing White far below where he normally scores. Now, look at the distribution across his recent sample size, okay? Most outcomes cluster between 16 and 23 points. Even small windows like the last 5 games, his scoring still centers well above the posted number. Zoom out to the full season. White has cleared 12.5 in over 80% of his games. That's a large statistical cushion. Now, look at the matchup. Miami ranks 26 in the league in points allowed to guards. So this is not a defensive matchup that suppresses perimeter scoring. White also maintains stable opportunity. He's playing mid-30 minutes, taking around 15 shots per game, and operating as primary scorer option in the offense. So the scoring pathway remains intact. Hey, but before you blindly click the over, all right, what am I missing, okay? The recent misses in this prop didn't come from reduced opportunity. They came from poor shooting efficiency. If White simply has an off shooting night, this prop could still fall short of the 12.5. And Miami's defensive scheme can occasionally slow perimeter rhythm. But structurally, the tension is clear. Typical scoring distribution versus heavily discounted line. Cody White, over 12.5 points. All right, so let's take a quick break. If you're liking what you hear so far, click down below, hit the like button, subscribe, turn your notifications on, so whenever Stat Lab is on, it'll notify you and you can come join me. If you want the full Prime Stat Lab breakdowns and projections, they are in the stand store below. If you're building interest tonight, the PrizePicks link is also there. And if you want to track performance over time, you can sync everything through Pikkit. It's an app that I use. It's very, very good. Now, let's move to a completely different kind of play. Cooper Flag, over 20.5 points and assists. Now, this prop isn't driven by massive structural gap. It's driven by recent acceleration. Flag's season median sits around 23.5 points plus assists. So the line at 20.5 already sits slightly below his typical production level. But check it out, all right? The real story is what's happening recently. Okay? You want to go over the last 5 games? Flag is averaging nearly 30 points plus assists. Over the last 10 games, he's still averaging above 30. And as many of these outcomes are landing between 20 and 35 combined points and assists. That's substantial cushion above the line. Now, look at the opportunity. Flag is around 34 minutes, taking over 16 shot attempts and generating strong playmaker opportunity. All right? The role in the offense is clearly aggressive. So the usage aligns with the statistical surge. But again, all right, the number's there for a reason. So what am I missing? All right, Boston presents one of the toughest defensive environments in the league. They rank near the top defensively against forwards and are particularly strong at limiting assists. They also play at a slower pace. Which means fewer possessions and fewer chances to accumulate stats. So the tension here becomes recent production surge versus elite defensive resistance. But you know what? I know Boston's great, but I'm still going with the over. Cooper Flag, 20.5 points and assists. Now, let's circle back. Let's circle back to Kobe White. I really like this guy. Over. 2.5 assists. This one here, this one is smaller, but the numbers still lean clearly. White's season median assist output sits around 4 assists. Tonight's line is 2.5. That places the betting line roughly 1.5 assists below his statistical center. Now, look at the trend. Okay, check out the trend. Over the last 10 games, let's see. White is averaging nearly 5 assists per game. Over the last 20 games, he's still sitting above 4 assists. Most outcomes cluster between 4 and 6, which comfortably clears the line. Now, add the matchup context. Miami ranks 23rd in assists allowed to guards. So opposing backcourt players are regularly generating playmaking production against him. And the pace environment supports it too. Charlotte plays at a top 5 pace, which increases possession volumes and assist opportunities. So structurally, White only needs a fairly typical playmaking night to clear this number. Here we go. But what am I missing? Okay, assist props are always tied to team shooting efficiency. White can create the pass, but if the teammate misses the shot, the assist never materializes. And if the ball handling responsibilities shift during the game, that opportunity can shrink. Still, the statistical distribution tells the story. Kobe White, over 2.5 assists. Now, final structure. Okay, Kobe White scoring, large statistical gap above the line. Cooper Flag, recent production surge driving the edge. Kobe White's assist, consistent playmaking distribution above the threshold. 3 props, 3 different edges. If you're structuring entries tonight, start with the strongest structural cushion. Layer the momentum play carefully, and treat the smaller assist lean and supporting exposure. No guessing, no chasing names, just distribution versus price. If you want the full Prime Stat Lab projections, they're in a stand store below. Subscribe for daily breakdowns and drop your strongest play in the comments. Execute intelligently. Let's cash. One more thing I want to show you. Okay, when back in the stat lab, okay? I'm not going to show you our formula, right? But we put these together, okay? With this prop here, the first one, it had a 91 out of 100 score. We have a little explanation there. It was elite, very elite, all right? We got it approved. We ran with it. Cooper Flag, same thing, had a strong edge. It was graded between 80 and 89. We got it approved. We ran with it. Kobe White, the second one, had a score of 86. Okay? Strong edge, very strong edge. We had it approved. We ran with it. Now I'll show you one here where we ran it and we didn't like it. And it did not get approved. Well, no, it was approved, but we did not run with it. Okay? And that was Jaime Jaquez. We were going to run with him, right? But when we got down to it, you know, we had a yellow, okay, 70-79. It favors the over, but it had a structural gap, and it remains small. So we approved it with a moderate edge. That's what we do here at Stat Lab. We go into the numbers, we go deep, all right, and we try to provide the best outcome for these props. Have a good night.